Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's such an honor and a privilege to have you on this podcast today. And today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic that I know Nigerians will be interested in to know what your buy-in or take would be on this particular matter today. And we're going to be talking about your network and your level. How does it connect? Does your network determine your next level, or does it determine your worth today? Because I know a lot of Nigerians who have 15,000 network of people, not just Cherry network, like high class network, right? So and I know today that they still borrow transport fare. And if they show you their list, they have like a lot of senators, House of Reps members, captain of industries, but their life is not showing the fact that they have these people in their lives. Is there a problem? Is there a disconnect? Or is it that they're just romanticizing that network or that connection? What is your take on this? Do you believe that your network really, really determines how far you go or your level of worth?
Okay, it all depends on how you're looking at it and the lens in which you are viewing it. Because for me, that didn't go well with me while growing up, unfortunately. One of the things I've come to realize that has been able to bring me beyond, one of the things I've realized over time that has brought me to this point where I am is the fact that I create value. And people of worth come to get the value you've brought, because the Bible has made it very clear for me that, have you seen a man diligent in his work? He shall stand before kings and not mere men. And for me, that has played a great deal. I was just intentional about what I was doing. I was excellent at what I was doing. I kept growing, and I started from servicing not really the high net worth individual. When I came to Abuja, I barely know anybody who could buy property from me as a person. But one of the things I was intentional about is that I created value that the rich today look for me to get. Now, where the other perspective plays a great role is the fact that when you have a great opportunity and you have something truly valuable that people can see and attest, that is what your network plays a role. Because you can't have something of great worth and you're going to share with those people who can't even afford it, or you're selling something that is not for the audience of people that surround you. I believe that if I have a property of, let's say, 5 billion naira, I won't go to Yola looking for a buyer of a property of 5 billion naira, because they are not much in that environment. I'll get to places like Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt. These are where the rich and wealthy are much. So
Yes,
therefore,
sir.
they can be able to patronize whatever you're selling. So for me, success did not just come because I know people. Success came to me because I was able to give value to people. And what was the value? I was giving them good return on investment. And who is an investor who is looking forward to invest in real estate that will not look for Michelle? It is because I've been able to create that value that other people's testimony could attest to the fact that if you want real return on your property, come to Michelle. And what was the concept we adopted? We adopted the concept of affordability. We're able to give property at a very good price. We ensure we put in infrastructure in place, and automatically you realize that there is value at the end of the day. People who are looking for good quality houses, look for us in town. We have properties in Maitama, Asokoro, Guzape, and people are rushing to those places. Why? Because we give very quality construction. When we say we're going to deliver on infrastructure, we're intentional about it, we're deliberate about it, we're committed to our work, we're diligent at it, and therefore it's like a magnet. We attract the right persons who can really afford it. So when you're looking for real value, you don't have any option than to look for us. And when we are looking for people who can patronize us, because we built credibility over time, we're people that can be trusted.
Yes.
And that is why I keep telling people that beyond just offering value, be intentional about creating a good reputation. Have a good personality. I remember while growing up, I used to lie. I was quite dishonest. But somehow, giving my life to Christ changed everything for me, because I got to know that as a Christian, I can't do those things I used to do again. So that transformation that happened in my life changed the narrative. So when I came to the place of work, it wasn't something I was faking. It wasn't something that I was trying to do. It was already part of me because I've been trained to walk with God. And walking with God means walking in integrity, walking in honesty. Even when you're wrong, you should be able to go back to God and tell him, I'm wrong, please forgive me, and take responsibility for what you've done, and then you realize that you're doing the right thing. So it's
Thank you.
easier for us to hold on to our words, and that is where we get to meet people of value, people of high net worth, and they come to patronize the business with you.
Thank you so much, sir. If I don't cut it now, he's going to preach for us, because when God has helped a man, he cannot do but link it to God. If I don't sincerely, he cannot talk without putting God in it. So you were saying, sir, that we're not always having this network of persons that you have now.
Yeah.
And you focused on attracting value, creating value. So you could attract this network of persons that are here today. So it means that all of the Nigerians out there that feel, oh, my uncle is in the Senate, is in the presidency and all of that, and they are plateauing in adding value to themselves, creating, the improving on their skills, it means that they are sleeping on a long thing. Yeah, so Nigerians will relate to that very well.
Okay, so but there's something that usually happens, and I see it often, where you see somebody calls you from the village or from somewhere to tell you, I know you, and you're trying to give the person audience, and after he has finished talking, and you sit down and ask yourself, what is this person selling? The person who is actually pitching an idea to you or thinking you can help him, in the real sense, does not have what it takes for you to truly help him. And I think that is the biggest gap that we have, where people have expectation of how they should be helped. And in real sense, you cannot actually be able to help them. When somebody is asking for help, they should be able to tell you how you should help them. For instance, somebody calls me to tell me, I need a job, sir. The question is not that you need a job. The question is that what value can you add? What have you built expertise on? And if I see an opportunity in that area and somebody calls you to tell you anything is nothing as far as I'm concerned. You must have been able to build substantial intelligence,
Oh, yes.
competence, integrity in an area of work that you would want somebody to truly help you. Because that's what I see. Or somebody calls you and he's selling a plot of land for me in maybe Kaduna. I do not have attachment to Kaduna, but I have attachment to Abuja, I have attachment to Lagos, I have attachment to where we have property.
Oh, yeah.
It's easier for me to give in thoughts to that. And sometimes it's just okay for you to begin to add value to your immediate environment. Let me tell you something that happened to me particularly. When I started my business, I concentrated in affecting my immediate environment, which is Abuja. I ensure I do well in what I was doing.
Yes.
And over time, I began to attract people who are interested in buying property in Abuja. They began to contact me to ask of property in Abuja because I have been able to do well in the small measure I have found myself. And that portrays to me what the Bible says, that he who is faithful in
the
little
little
would be faithful in much.
Oh, yes.
The little opportunity you have, how have you make a difference in the small space that you have? I see a lot of people, even when they work for others, they are nonchalant towards it. You don't know that you're building capacity for yourself and not even for the other person. So you put in every sense of commitment. You're learning, you're building capacity. And when a greater opportunity opens up to you, you're fully prepared, you're ready to be able to grasp those opportunities. So for me, that has been the game changer. And if you really want to get impact from high net worth individual, start by giving that impact to the small community of people God has placed around you. That is your period of formation. That is your period of transformation. That is your period of testing. A lot of people think that they have so much value until it is being tested. Then you come to realize that it's nothing. But when you begin to grow gradually, and that is why for me, growth is not something you fall into by accident. God just don't plug a fruit from the tree and just give it to you.
That's right.
He asks you to cultivate it. That is why he first of all gives you land in which you plant. He gives you seed. He teaches you the act of cultivating it. He teaches you the act of weeding, to remove the weeds, the unwanted weeds that may not be in support of the plant you've provided. At the end of the day, when you have very good fruit, many people will come to eat of it. Many people will say, this thing is truly sweet. And for me, that's the principle of growth.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is very, very detailed, and I know Nigerians are really, really benefiting from these discussions today. My last question for you today is, now with all that you've said, you've actually told us that you would choose talent over network, right?
Yes.
Like creating of value over network, because this creation of value that you're going to do is going to attract whatever network you're looking for, right? So, and that is already demystifying Nigerians' mindset of you having somebody that is highly placed and being complacent in whatever it is you're doing.
In fact, let me say this, that while growing up, there was a time I reached out to a rep member to buy a property in River Park then when I was selling River Park. And he told me he's not interested in buying the property. Guess how foolish I was? I was angry with him that he did not buy the property. And I asked myself, why was I angry that he didn't buy? If he doesn't have the resources, I thought that he had the resources. I thought that he should be in position to buy that property. But in the real sense, maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he doesn't see the need. Why was I even angry in the first place? And that taught me a great lesson, that sometimes what you see is not what truly is. Not to say that that rep member is not wishing me good or he doesn't have money. But who knows whether he has bought somewhere just days before I came to him.
Right.
So he doesn't need it. I do not have any right to be angry. So when people don't come to you at the right time when you thought they should, there is no place of anger. Let there be a test that, okay, this person does not need what I'm selling, which is okay. If I call the same person that called me to say, I should buy a property, if I call him and say, buy an aeroplane, or pay somebody's school fees, if he doesn't have the resources, why should I be angry?
That's right. That's
so
right.
It should be two ways. So it really happens. So for me, one of the key lessons I learned then was that whatever you're selling, not everybody truly needs it at that time. Focus on those who need your value and sell that value to them, and they cannot resist it, because
I totally agree. Because at times you would also need to also grow to the level of these people to be able to attract them to you. Because if they're still here and they are there, when you speak to them, there will be no closing of transactions. So you need to grow with your value to be able to attract those people at the top. So I think that is really, really top notch for us. Thank you so much, sir. And the last thing you help me to advise Nigerians would be that, can you advise us? Because me, I know that I have nobody, I just God, right? And I know that I have to build my values very well to be able to attract, the people that do not know me. Why would they come to me if I don't have a value to present to them? So help us advise we Nigerians that we are not taking value creation so seriously or trying to build our capacity and values. Help us to advise on how they can, make it, can twist it or turn it around in a way that you create that value, even if it's your uncle, even if it's your parents that is there. You need to create that value so that you don't end up, going into the system and spoiling things. Because I know that my dad is a Dangote or some very high-placed person, Otedola, and Billy and all of that. So how do I still wire my mind in a way to know that I don't need to be complacent in creating of value to be there?
Okay, one of the key things I see with a lot of young people is the fact that they don't remain consistent at what they do. So they start something today. After a while, they move to another thing. After a while, they move to another thing. And that's not to say that you cannot move to another phase of life if what you're working on does not yield the result you're looking for. But this is one thing I see very silent in people's life that it's usually neglected. And that is the place of remaining consistent to learn that thing and be good at it. I've seen over time that there are many people, when you try to correct them in workplace, very few people learn to understand that that correction is not personal, it's as regards work.
That's right.
Many people don't see that when you are being formed, it's like forging gold in fire. The raw gold is never attractive, it's never valuable. We have petroleum in Nigeria. It's never valuable until it is processed. And sometimes it goes through rigorous level of filtration, heat, pressure, fire. And a lot of people don't wait in those times and season. We're in a society where people want it quick. They want to achieve success today, today, today. A lot of people look at me and they think that I've achieved what I've achieved very early, but they are not aware of how deep my foundation is. And that is why I have been able to stand while growing tall. A lot of people are not intentional about digging deep and establishing a very solid foundation. I remember my father used to tell me something. He said, Baraka, speed kills. So when you're moving on a high speed, if you don't ensure that you have a good brake system, there's no way you will not have accident. Because in circumstance where little interruption, maybe a car just pass in front of you and you're on high speed and you're trying to press the brake at the same time and you don't have good brake system, you're not cognizant of your environment, you can easily press the brake carelessly and you can somersault or spin or anything can happen at that time. But what if you're cognizant of the environment you're in, you ensure that your brake system is correct? And that is where a lot of people get it wrong. During the moment when life gives them no, instead of them to see the opportunity of learning, growing up and digging deep, they don't see that. They see that as a form of rejection. They see that as a form of criticism. They see it as though the person doesn't like them. And you realize that that attitude does not give them the opportunity to truly grow. And that's the place of fixed mindset. When people grow in an environment where they are just confined to their immediate environment, the best they could see is what they have. They are usually limited because they don't give room for growth. That's and right. Growth would often challenge your present status quo. And let me tell you the truth. For all of the things that I've done and have succeeded, I've gotten more no's than yes. I've had 10,000 reasons why not to proceed. But I've convinced myself that I can make a difference. And in every moment that I told myself I was going to make a difference, I was intentional about that approach. I was deliberate to ensure that what I do is not just common, what I do is extraordinary. And what it means is that I have to do an extra work beyond what others think for me to achieve that goal. So people look at me today, they celebrate me, they say, oh, you've achieved this, you've done well. They don't understand the level of work, the level of sleepless night, the level of consistency over time. For example, the launch of our Hoto exclusive. Yes. People have just seen the end product and they celebrate us, they come, they congratulate us, but they didn't understand the work that has gone on for 8 months of dedication, of commitment, shouting, of going to site, of burning sweat. Nobody saw that part.
True.
The last part of what people have seen is the end result. And let me tell you, it's not out of place for people to celebrate your end goal. That is what people are looking for.
That's right.
They don't want to hold on promises. They want to see the real result. And you must be focused on the result and not the accolades, the challenges that you face while going through the process. Let your eyes be on the mark. I learned that from Jesus. The Bible says, for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross, even when it has to do with a shameful way to die. Today we are saved. Today we enjoy grace because of what Jesus has done for us. He paid the price for our redemption today. And today we are happy that we are saved by the works someone has done. He has paid the price. God did not just save us at no cost. It cost his son something dearly. And if we must get glory on earth through glory, then sometimes we would have to put in the work, the consistency, the innovation, the resistance to say, I want to continue even if nobody believes in me, even if nobody sees what I am seeing. I want to be intentional to ensure that I get the results and I get what I want to get.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, this is really, really intense. And I know if I'd allowed this, he has so much in him that he would want to let out for us to benefit. But don't worry, we'll be bringing you up on this podcast on a regular basis because we know so much in you that is locked up that we need to benefit as Nigerians. Thank you so much for your time. In fact, I'm so shocked to know today that he had a lot of no's than yeses. I am shocked. I mean, this product right here does not look like it had a lot of no's, but thank you for helping us to get into that detail today.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.